Jonathan failed at his dream of becoming a famous sports journalist and had to get a real job and a beautiful family and fulfilling life. But fortunately, anyone in America can record a podcast. His good buddy Jackson has a great radio voice and happens to know a lot about golf because he works at a golf course. Together, they will bring you the Not So Ball Knowers, a thrilling podcast where we deliver lukewarm takes and interview guests much smarter than us. Get excited because this podcast has some exciting stuff. Welcome to the Not So Ball Knowers. Welcome back to the Not So Ball Knowers. I am your host, Jonathan Toy, and this is my co-host, Jackson, and thank goodness the Super Bowl is over.
Amen to that, Jonathan. What a boring game. We're happy to be here, episode 3. I need to, before we dive into everything, give a huge shout out to my co-host for carrying the weight this week. I studied our show notes, but my co-host, Jonathan, basically prepared tonight's episode. I have had a death in my family, so I've been pretty preoccupied with that, but still carved out hour and a half for us to talk all the happenings. So Jonathan, before we dive in, big thank you to getting things started. And this episode goes out to my late grandfather. So let's have some fun talking Super Bowl and everything in between.
That's sweet. And the good news was it wasn't very hard, Jackson, to write the show notes because there's really not much to talk about the Super Bowl, like at least from the game. Shout out to our first guest, Sam DeFord. I think we both overthought it. We were like, well, like the Seahawks are heavily favored and, Mike Vrabel might pull off the upset. And like Sam, our first guest, told us to not overthink it. He was right. Shout out to me for like reversing my pick and being like, Sam knows more about football, but only on the Not So Ball Knowers will you get guests who can predict that the Seahawks would have won the Super Bowl. So
yeah, man, it was I will say that the highlight for me was the entire Super Bowl was probably the halftime show. It was about the only thing throughout the entire thing that I found truly entertaining was watching Bad Bunny. So, but yeah, I did not reverse my pick. I was steadfast with my pick throughout the week. My boss, who I've now mentioned many times on this show, who is a diehard Pats fan, was very eager to be on tonight's episode had the Pats won. So due to the fact that the Pats did not win, he's not here. So we're going to talk about it. We'll break it down. Here's my phrase, Toy. I'm going to steal this from our guys group chat that we have, but here's my phrase to sum up the game. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm listening.
That was a typical Mike Vrabel coaching effort. I love him as a coach, but
how did he punt on 4th and 1? Like, I'm like, buddy, you're not going to win this game. You have to take some gambles. Like he was playing like when Tennessee in 2024 had that amazing defense and Nico at QB, and we're like, we're not going to have him throw picks. I'm like, buddy, you got to go for this, but I cut you off.
No, and that's my phrase is this was unfortunately seemed like an all too familiar Mike Vrabel game. Just it was now on the biggest stage. Love Mike Vrabel. I think he's a mastermind at what he does, and I have a ton of respect for the guy, a ton of respect for the guy. This is not me saying that Mike Vrabel is a bad coach by any stretch. Is he going to get one of these? Absolutely. Is it probably going to be with the Pats? I hope so. I really do. There's something about that organization. I mentioned last week, the saying that they only count rings in New England. And I think that's true. But congratulations to the Seahawks. Congratulations to Sam Darnold. The only ghost that he will be seeing are Super Bowl rings, from here on out. So kudos to him. Kudos to that defense. They got to Drake May. I mean, you were watching the same game I was. Like, talk about pressure, man.
I mean, I did stop. No. There was a point, Jackson, where like I did kind of start zoning out and like I started looking at old photos of Knoxville, which is like reading the history of Knoxville has been my interest lately. But no, there was a point where like around the third quarter, like I tuned out and I was like half watching.
Well, we know you love to just look at photos of historic Knoxville in your spare time, so I'm not surprised there. But yeah, man, I definitely zoned out. I mean, kind of I like got a little re-engaged when they got that touchdown and then we're driving there with what 8 or 9 minutes left and then Drake May throws that awful pick to literally
Yeah.
right into
My,
the
my
defender's numbers. It's almost like I mean,
I will say the most entertaining part of that game was Chris Collinsworth just like being like he was acting like a spouse who was like being passive aggressive because like he and his like partner, he and his wife slash husband, like you know how you're married, like you know how like sometimes like you'll let like one of like the spouse make the decision and then you're kind of it turns out to like be the wrong decision on vacation and you're kind of passive aggressively like reminding them. That kind of reminded me of like Chris Collinsworth after the interception. Like he was like, there was no way like that was getting completed. What was he doing? And
there
he
was
was
like
making
10 seconds of silence, and then Chris Collinsworth is like, "Where was he going? What was he? Who was he throwing to?"
it makes sense because if you're in Chris Collinsworth's shoes, he only used to call the Super Bowl 3 years. It's like one of the biggest games, and he's like, and he's thinking, I wish this is such a dud. And he
Right.
probably was passive aggressive toward the Patriots offense because he said, this is one of the highest moments of my career, and you're depriving me of a good game because you're incompetent offensively. And he would say comments when the after that fumble, he said, "Yeah, this is so deflating for a defense when you're playing your butts off and you just know that the offense can't do anything."
Right.
His snarky comments were kind of cracking me up. I got to give him credit for
Well,
making a
even
dull game entertaining.
late in the first half, he was like, "Seems like both coaches are starting to realize that this is going to be a very much a defensive game." And I feel like you and I both said, I mean, granted, my score prediction was higher than yours, I think, but we both said that we knew going in that both defenses were really good. It was going to be a defensive game, and it was almost like, I mean, I know Chris Collinsworth knows ball, and we apparently do not know ball. But my point being, we both clearly were in agreement before the game started last week that we knew this was going to be a defensive battle. We knew the Seahawks had a squad. We knew the Pats had a squad on that side of the ball. And I think we saw that. I think it was, I don't know. It was, there were points in the game where it was definitely like, I was excited. I was when the Pats held them to a field goal that first initial drive, I was like, "All right, it's gonna be a good game." And then Drake May just never got it going, and that I mean, kudos to the pressure that was dialed up from the Seahawks every single time. I mean, they were getting to him. It looked like I don't know. It looked like TCU's defense pressuring Josh Hoover earlier this year. I mean, it just seemed like Hoover was getting sacked, you know, every other drive. So
Yeah, and I guess that was another thing too. That was another funny comment that Chris said. Is he said he's like, yeah, the Patriots are acting as if they're playing Denver in the snow with Bo Nix out. He said this is Seattle. He said you can't be this conservative. And then when New England was forced to not be conservative, we saw what happened there. So nothing was going to work. I guess I did hear one radio guy today, local John Reed from Fox Sports Knoxville. If you're listening to this show, like give him listen. His morning show is really good. He pointed out that they could have like rolled May's a very athletic quarterback, so they could have done more to mitigate the pressure. It kind of looked like the Patriots were leaving poor Drake May out to die. But I mean, other than that, like even if they did that, the Seahawks were the better team. So shout out to Sam for telling us not to overthink it. The Seahawks
right.
just dominated. There was a point I was wondering when they were settling for field goals. I said, is this one bad turnover or one big play and this is a ball game? But that even when it was 12-0, I'm like, this is still a 2 possession game. And then the fumble happened and they went down 19. And then that was the game.
Yeah, I mean, again, there was a little bit of life with like 8 or 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter when the Pats had the ball at midfield and then Drake May threw that interception. That was pretty deflating. And I mean, there was some excitement with how the Pats defense had been playing. You know, hypothetically, if the Pats score on that drive, we could be having a totally different conversation. You know, a drive that started at their own 2 yard line too. If that drive ends in a touchdown, I think we're 100% having a much more interesting conversation as far as the overall interest level of the last quarter of the game, because I think that a drive like that then would have probably inspired the defense to go out and probably have a pretty strong, yeah, I don't know. These are all hypotheticals, but I do think that if that drive had resulted in a touchdown, that we would be having a different conversation, or at least saying, "Man, what an exciting ending to that game." It was close, or it was never really close up until the 8 minute mark, and then it got close. And look who it is! What are you eating, Jared?
I
Oh,
also had
is that
pizza
pumpkin
for
guns?
dinner. If you guys, for all the people who are listening, like without the video through audio, our producer joined the show. He was on dad duty, which we love and respect. We love our dads out there. We love our great dads, not the deadbeat dad.
Yep.
We hate deadbeat dads on this podcast. If you're a deadbeat dad and you're listening to this, get involved in your kid's life or don't listen to this podcast. But if you're an involved dad, we love you. Thank you for listening. I
We
love my
love the
dad.
good we
I
love
think
the
we love
good dads, and I'm excited to be spending some quality time with both the dads on the other side of my screen right now next week in person in the great city of Knoxville, Tennessee.
My dad joined us for the Super Bowl last night. He's a huge Seahawks fan, and I never really understood why he was a fan as a kid. He just said, "Hey, I root for them." And actually, last night I asked him like, "Okay, why are you really a fan?" And he said when they first became a team, he's always been a fan since then because they were apparently very different and they had a scrappy crew of people. And so they had some really good players in their team, and he started naming people that God, I don't know who they were, but he said in the 90s that he really liked them, and he said, "I'm just gonna root for them." So
We have cool
he came out
colors.
ahead. Yeah, they do.
They've always been really cool when they had Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson and Richard Sherman. Like those teams were undeniably very cool and very fun to
Watching
watch.
watching Marshawn Lynch was always a ton of fun. And it's pretty cool. Like, he's a really good dude. The things that he still does
Yeah.
for various community outreach, and with between homeless shelters and food and things like that. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I know how much he loves interacting with the media. So Marshawn, if you're listening, you can be a guest on this pod. I know. Actually,
Anytime.
Jared's our science guy. I would like Jared to actually calculate the odds of getting Marshawn Lynch on the show because I bet they're I can't pronounce that word. I bet they're infinitesimally low. Don't
Well,
edit out that I don't know how to pronounce that word, Jared. It was funny.
that'll lead me into, I was gonna some housekeeping items from the not so ball knowers.
I was just gonna say on that, Jackson, it's how much money do we want to spend? And I mean, I think if we wanted Snoop Dogg on here, I mean, they can pay him to go out to Milan to
Yeah,
watch that, so we could pay him to come on here.
if Snoop can ride on a Zamboni, we can get Marshawn on the podcast. And I was gonna say, here's what we're gonna do, because some housekeeping from the not so ball knowers. Jonathan's done a really good job of coordinating our our software with Jared. I'm gonna head up the social media operations for this whole thing. So working with Jared to get some fun clips. So I think what we need to do, Jonathan, is I'll just start getting on X, the everything app, and just rocketing out, tagging him and everything. We'll get him on the show that way. He'll have to do it. We'll just mention him so many times.
But yeah, I love Marshawn Lynch and that. I'm all for that. And also, if you are listening to this on YouTube, like and subscribe because I'm going to say if we get 100 subscribers, I will write a weekly blog. And I feel like I am a good writer. I have a lot of flaws, but I will say that I think I'm a talented writer and I'm actually a funny writer. You will,
I've read some of your stuff. You're definitely a good writer.
yeah, yeah. And I'm funny too. So if you want a good laugh, I'm probably funnier writing than I am talking. So if you're listening and you want some good blogs, I'm only going to do it if I know people will actually read it. So I need subscribers to count it up because I'm also very lazy.
Yeah, right.
Another gift I have is I'm very self-aware and I'm not going to put in the effort to write a blog if I don't think anyone's going to read it. But if we get 100 subscribers, Jackson, I'm going to do it. Sorry, my cat's driving me crazy.
Nothing wrong with a little self-awareness every now and then. All right, so this is not in the show notes, but I've got a question, and I'm going to have Jared also answer this question. I'm going to open with a statement. I thought the commercials were not great this year. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a couple of them, but I'm gonna, other than like getting a lot of, I mean, Jared is a cybersecurity and IT guy, so he knows this. Seemed like there was a lot of AI crammed in there. Not the commercials being AI, but a lot of these companies that are using AI. I mean, even Ring doorbells are going to be able to use AI to identify your dog and things like that, which I thought was. Anyway, so floating it back, did you guys have a favorite commercial? Did you not have a favorite commercial? Thoughts?
I kind of like this Sabrina Carpenter Pringles, man. I don't know why. I'm also a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan. I think she has good music, and I think I think she's really funny. I don't know if that was a good commercial, but I was like, oh, Sabrina Carpenter. Glad to
Yeah.
see her. Glad she's doing well.
Yeah, yeah. I liked I thought, I mean, this is a cop out, but the Budweiser Clydesdales are always, you know,
Kind of got me in
always
my
a hit.
feels. That's a
Yeah,
good
that one
call
was
out.
good. That one was good.
That one was my favorite, but I thought the commercials were lackluster. The one that Kaylee and I thought was very unique was it was the Coinbase one, but they had karaoke essentially on TV with
Yeah, I
That one,
saw
the
yeah.
that.
lyrics. I'd never seen that before. So
Yeah,
while
that
it
was
wasn't
cool.
it was a low budget to produce that, but
Right.
the other one, the 90s Duncan one was hilarious. Ben Affleck, Goodwill
Oh
Duncan.
yeah, yeah,
I go
with
to Duncan
George
every
and
morning, so
yeah, seeing Costanza and the Jennifer Aniston and all that. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the commercials were. I'd give them a 4 out of 10. Oh,
Yeah, I will say that karaoke is unique, because my wife was playing the Steam Deck at the Super Bowl, and, like, it was so unique that she looked up from her Steam what the game she was playing on her Steam Deck to see, the commercial, and then when she realized what it was, she went back to playing her Steam Deck, but if you can get my wife to pay attention to anything during a game, it's creative.
yeah, I absolutely. Well, so while we're on the entertainment side of things, we got to talk about Bad Bunny and what I thought was great.
Yeah.
Without getting no politics involved, I thought it was wonderful. I thought he did a really great job.
Yeah, and I'm the perfect test if for a halftime show because I don't really know anything about music other than that sounds nice. Like, you know how there's people who watch sports and like their extent of knowledge is, oh, that boy nice. My extent of music knowledge is that sounds nice. And I also don't participate in culture wars because I'm a dad and I have a life. So I didn't really pay much attention to the dialogue, but like entering the Super Bowl, but just as a halftime performance. And I have never heard a Bad Bunny song, not intentionally. Just like I said, I'm a music casual. I listen to show tunes and then sometimes stadium songs when I want to get fired up. But I thought it was great. I thought it was catchy. It kind of got me in a good vibe. Like that's what music is supposed to do. I kind of liked all the imagery in his sets, like the electricity, like the call outs to the
Yeah.
power outage. I think he did a really good job, and I kinda liked all the flags at the end and him calling out all the American countries.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool, and you saw on the jumbotron where it said, the only thing greater than hate is love, essentially, which I thought that was cool. Just all of the imagery was great at a time, where obviously there was some controversy surrounding this performance. I thought it was wonderful. I thought he did a really nice job. It was super cool to see Ricky Martin and Lady Gaga as well. As a kid, I used to absolutely adore Ricky Martin. Like you can ask my parents. My parents liked Ricky Martin, and so I understandably listened to a lot of Ricky Martin growing up. And so when cool to see Ricky Martin,
I'm also a
big
huge
Lady
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga. Like, I do like Lady Gaga songs.
Oh yeah,
Just,
I love Lady Gaga.
like, I'm one
Love
of those
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga fan I'm not like, I would never spend money on a concert because I'm broke, but, like, I'm one of those people, like, I call them the fans that if her song comes on the radio, I do turn it up.
But yeah, absolutely. And I do go to a lot of concerts. I obviously like I've made it known on this show that I don't go to like maybe necessarily a ton of pop concerts. I go to a lot of, jam band shows and things like that. But as somebody who listens to a lot of music, highly entertaining, Pedro Pascal was in the kind of in the. I don't know if you saw him. That was neat. Somebody said Matthew McConaughey was also
Yeah, there was a
dancing.
lot of cameos, and that couple actually got married. There was an actual wedding.
Yeah. Yeah, that I mean, it was all super cool. And we were talking about imagery, right? So like the imagery of the sugarcane, that everybody was calling grass. I was scrolling threads last night, laying in bed, that there were people inside of those inside of the sugarcane reeds, if that's what you call them. So yeah, I would give the performance a solid, I don't know, I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I would go. Yeah, I don't have any qualms with that rankings. And as someone who never heard Bad Bunny fans, my official stance now is that the Not So Ball Knowers is a fan of Bad Bunny, and he is a friend of the podcast if he ever wants to come on the show. But yeah, no, good job. And that leads me to my next. Good job, Bad Bunny. Great job. From 3 people in Tennessee who reviewed your show. I'm sure that's the highest honor you could receive. Now that you don't have a Grammy because you gave it to a kid, getting a compliment from the Not So Ball Knowers is the next best thing you can get. That was another cool moment in the show. Transitioning, since I said I'm a music casual, I know you're a big music fan, so I thought this would be fun. What were your top 3? Jared has a lot of work to do, so I cut it from 5 to 3, so he had less work to do editing. But like, what are your 3 favorite halftime shows?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I think I can give you a pretty good answer though. Number 3. All right, can I do a tie for number 3?
Yes, yes, ties are allowed. I'll allow it.
I'm gonna do a tie between Lady Gaga and Rihanna for number 3. Two of my favorites. Love both those artists. Anytime you can ask my wife anytime that she knows I am a big fan of both Lady Gaga and Rihanna. I know a lot. I can sing most of Rihanna's catalogs. All right, so enough of the, but yeah, so that's tied for third. Lady Gaga and Rihanna. I don't know, remembering Lady Gaga like coming in from the ceiling of, remember that when she like
Yeah,
literally came in tables, how cool that was. So anyways, that's tied for third. Number 2 would probably be The Who. Remember when The Who played?
yeah, that's
And
good choice.
yeah, it was just super cool. And the reason being, again, being a music guy, my dad and I listened to a lot of The Who uh, growing up. So, listening to the songs, Bob O'Reilly and Pinball Wizard and songs like that, So just that's the reason there. And I was obviously young, much younger than I am now when they played the Super Bowl. So that was a fun Super Bowl halftime show to share with my dad. So shout out my dad and his taste in music and what he raised me on. And let's see, I bet you can guess where I'm going with number 1.
Yeah,
It,
like
it's
it's I feel like it's obvious, but I'll let you go ahead.
it's Prince for sure. I mean, is there any other? I mean, granted, there's a lot of Super Bowl halftime shows that I haven't been alive for, but it has to be Prince. I mean, unanimous number 1 in my book is Prince.
Yeah, like just it raining, like if there's any atheists listening to this podcast, first of all, we'd love to have you. Not gonna, but like if you're an atheist listening and you don't believe in God and like and you watch Prince singing Purple Rain while it's raining, like I feel like that's all the evidence you need, guys. I mean, that's just too much of a great coincidence for it not to be divine intervention to have it pouring rain and like the purple lights and singing one of the greatest songs by one of the greatest, most talented performers of our lifetime generation.
Let it be known the Not So Ball Knowers support all religious backgrounds and beliefs.
Yes. But I will say I'm a Christian. Everyone on this podcast is Christians, but like everyone is welcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's my top 3, Jonathan. I hope that that's a worthy top 3.
Yes, I think that's a great list. Jared, what's your favorite halftime show?
Yeah, I'm curious. Jared knows pop culture probably better than all of us, so this will be a good answer.
I really enjoyed the Lady Gaga one from a few years ago when she came from the roof. That was fun. And I think the one they did at Sophie Stadium not too long ago, Sophie, whatever, when they had pretty much the who's who and, rap artists, that was really cool to see 50 Cent in his
That one was
age
cool. I do remember
hanging
that.
from the ceiling. And then I guess on my lowest tier, like just combining two incredibly awesome bands, artists and the Black Eyed Peas and Slash and, Guns N' Roses was kind of dumb. Probably in the lower end for me, but both are awesome in their own right. Like I love Sweet Child of Mine and I love I Got a
I also
Feeling, but
love
that
Boom
was
Boom
kind of
Pow.
weird. Boom Boom Pow. Yeah, I mean, it would have been, I don't know. I thought this one did a good job with the artist. My only thing, did they have Daddy Yankee when they did the Gasolina part, or was that just like part of does he sample that in one of his songs?
I didn't notice. I was more focused on, I didn't catch him. And if it put it in the comments if we missed Daddy Yankee
Okay,
to
they
all
didn't have him
our
in person.
listeners. Okay,
They did, people are commenting about it online. It was noted that they had part of that.
gotcha. Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought everything was great. I also thoroughly enjoyed watching Green Day perform before the game. I don't know if you watched
Oh,
that,
I did.
Jonathan.
For many my time when I went through my sad phase in college, a big sad phase, I'd always listen to Boulevard of Broken Dreams. So that was a
Yeah.
throwback.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of Green Day when I was younger, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Time of Your Life, aka Good Riddance. Let's see, Wake Me Up When September Ends, When I Come Around. All those songs were, kind of the soundtrack to my freshman year of high school, 8th grade into ninth grade. So big fan.
Sorry, you can see my cat's in the screen, and she insists that she shows off her like private area to the screen. I'm like, Pippin, act like a lady to our hundreds of listeners. Yeah. So as you guys can see, my cat's really affectionate, but like I'm trying to make sure that she just doesn't, show any unseemly areas on camera.
You're
Jared,
muted, Jared.
Yeah, I'm muted. One thing while we're talking about, the millions of people that are looking at our content right now, I think I'm gonna, if you guys will let me take 30 seconds each week to share some inside stats from
Yes.
our YouTube, just this one single page. That way, for anyone that's watching the video, we'll call it out. But we really need those. We really need those subscribers. So for those that are on video, you can see here. For those that are not, we're doing pretty good as far as uploads. Consistently we're uploading podcasts. We have 18 subscribers. We need 500 folks. So let's get there. But here's the kicker. We either need 3,000 hours of valid public watching in the last 365 days, or we need 3 million views of shorts in the last 90 days. So for all those out there listening, first of all, like and subscribe, but watch our stuff because, YouTube's bot detection is pretty good. I'm used to writing bot armies to sign up and vote for people. Done that in the past with this friend group, but I'm not going to be able to get past Google's Great Wall. So
We wouldn't want to cheat anyways.
Yeah,
We
I don't.
want the
I know
We
it's
would.
true.
Jared, I told people if we got 100 subscribers, I would start writing a blog. They get the gift of my pen.
I think that would help. I mean, because you go look at this and when one on here, if we look at where the people are coming from, then there are where's the analytics channel analytics. So this is interesting. The audience, they are coming from where's the
This is
referral
some
base.
exciting
Okay,
stuff.
yeah. Here we go. This was actually what I was looking for. So traffic source. A lot of people watched our short from last week, the SIM storage crisis. That was a driver. 77% on that, and another page of people got through the whole thing. There's actually 2 channels. I just saw this. If we go to our podcast dashboard, can you guys guess the area of sports that the 2 videos we were recommended at the end of the video are from? And the bonus points if you can guess what the topic was on those videos.
So like the actual genre of sport,
We got
or
recommended. 2 people got to us via a couple of videos on other people's channels that are much more popular. So I'm going to pull those up while you guys kind of think about it.
is one golf related?
No, sadly, one is not golf, which is crazy because we have talked about more golf than the average general sports podcast. So we should keep
I
doing
need
that.
to do better.
Is it basketball?
One of them is basketball. Yes.
Okay. Baseball?
Nope, not yet.
Football?
Dang, my 2 favorite sports.
Football. Yes.
Okay.
So here
Well,
we
that's
go.
good.
I found
that's
it. So if
we're
we go
versed.
into here, audience, where are they coming from?
We're doing something
Advanced
right,
mode.
Jonathan.
and
Yeah.
we can see where these
My credit
people
card
are
company
coming
thought
from.
the Riverside purchase was fraud, so I'm gonna have to tell them that that was a legit perp. Even my credit card company doesn't believe in us, Jared. They're like, "There's no way this
They
guy is
will.
doing a podcast. We're denying this."
My mom has liked and subscribed and has listened to our first 2 episodes, I think, potentially multiple times, which is great. Thank you,
I
mom.
found it. I found it. Yeah, we've got and we need more commenters too. So here you go. We got the Knicks Weekly breaking down the latest Giannis trade rumors, and then Sam Darnold's underdog story with the Pat McAfee show. Somebody, they probably show a lot of stuff, but at one impression, 100% click through rate. So clearly the next person was not interested, but somebody watching the Pat McAfee show is like, what the heck is this podcast? We got to come and check it out.
There
Oh,
we
so
There's
go.
some cool stuff in here.
We just
I
need
hope the
a we
person's listening to this podcast, and we appreciate you. Subscribe and comment, and if you're a Seahawks fan, we will get yeah, we will talk more Seahawks coverage. Here's the thing is that I will pander. I've said this before. I will put aside rivalries to pander for whoever listens. Like my father-in-law is a huge Alabama fan, and he listens consistently. He comments consistently. So
Yeah.
I will pander to Alabama. Nick Saban, greatest coach of all time. I think I actually do have, it's called Stockholm Syndrome, Jackson, like where you start to I think I've gotten beaten down by Nick Saban so much as a Tennessee fan that I started to realize, oh, I really like this guy. I think that's some version of stock. I think that's
Yeah.
Jared's our PhD. He can tell me what's if I'm in the ballpark of, but I think it's called Stockholm syndrome. It's what Beauty and the Beast is about. But I had something similar with Nick, and like we said, we're a huge fan of Terry. She can come on the show.
Absolutely. I was gonna say too, Jonathan, back to shout out my mom for liking and subscribing. She was giving me some constructive feedback, and she was like, "Man, it's great. You guys know so much." She's like, "But increase the positivity, tone down the negativity on yourselves." She's like, "You guys are gonna succeed." So that was
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Self-deprecating stuff. That's always worked for me. So as long as we don't mention, as long as we
That's such
remember
a
to
motherly
mention.
advice, though. I love it.
success is the key, man. We have to mastermind principle. We've got to know we want to
I
succeed.
mean, if we keep inviting enough of these actual famous sports icons onto the podcast, surely one of them will see a short that Jackson posts and want to come entertain us.
Yeah. Jackson's mom, if you're listening, your son, you did a great job raising your son because he's very knowledgeable. I put myself down, but I've never been negative about Jackson. Like I said, I'm a lazy person, so I wouldn't do a podcast with someone I didn't think was super talented, super charming, super handsome, and just really funny and witty. So yeah, Jackson's all of that. So if you're listening, you should celebrate, get your favorite meal, pour yourself your favorite drink because you did a great job being a mom. So shout out to you.
I'm not going to tell her that we mentioned her in the episode. I'm just going to let her find it organically when she listens to it in a couple days.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's great. But yeah, if you're a subscriber and you have a favorite team, comment what your favorite team is, and we will pander to you and we'll give them more coverage because we're still finding our way. So I think this podcast might just be pandering. And speaking of the Seahawks fan, my last thought was Kenneth Walker. I wanted to say this when we were talking about Marshawn Lynch, but Kenneth Walker did his best Marshawn Lynch impersonation. I thought he ran really hard. He ran really well. He looked good. His post game interview was awesome. I think that should be the mate. If you hate doing interviews with the media, he gave the golden interview where you just thank God and your teammates, and then you're done. And everyone's like, okay, great interview, great job.
yeah, I totally agree. Sorry, my wife was texting me during that monologue there, but yeah, I totally agree. Congratulations to the Seahawks. Well done. Well coached team, great defense, enjoyable offense.
Your manager, your boss? I don't know what we call boss man. Was he okay today? Was he hanging
Yeah,
there?
he was. We talked on the phone for a couple minutes. I think he's excited about the future of the Patriots organization. I'll leave it at that.
I think I mean, yes, they had a really easy schedule ish, but still, I mean, better than Vrabel did for us with the Titans. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Vrabel had some pretty good moments, but I'm excited about the Titans' future, to be honest.
Right.
I
if
will say, how
uh,
do you guys feel the Monday after a Super Bowl? I always have existential dread and like sadness, because I think it's because like the Super Bowl is hyped all week, all throughout, honestly, the season. And then you notice your life is just nothing changes in your life. It said, okay, we got all that hype. And then you get some of those Ecclesiastes moments where you're like, oh man, this really is kind of meaningless that we put so much attention, effort, energy into football and being a fan of football. And then it's just over and nothing changed. I don't know. I just always, you guys may be different. My brain is wired weirdly, but I always kind of get existential dread, and I just am kind of sad that football's over. The Monday after the Super Bowl's always been kind of a down day for me.
Yes and no. I mean, yeah, of course, is everybody, in a food coma the next day from I ate like 5 taquitos and a roast beef sandwich and so much Rotel dip last night that I still have heartburn. But
Shout out Jets Pizza.
that'll be a good short, Jared. We can talk about my heartburn on YouTube. But anyways,
Did you already talk about it, or?
We're talking
yeah,
about it now.
I just said
Oh, right now.
I ate
Oh,
so much
okay.
Rotel dip and taquitos that I still
Well, I know,
have
but it wasn't like I mean, I need some more graphic details. Like, were you in the, toilet destroying for the next?
No, I just ate a bunch of taquitos, a bunch of Rotel dip, a bunch of guacamole. I drank a
That's
couple IPAs, and I
Uh-huh.
still have heartburn right now.
Yeah, I used to get heartburn really bad, and then I realized it had something to do, like our last podcast talking about like Adderall and Red Bulls, and I think it had
Right.
something to do with that. But I
I
still,
don't normally get it. I just ate my weight in taquitos last night.
the other thing, by the way, I had to go to the doctor about this, is I kept getting heartburn, but they told me I was just too stressed. So this was like a very stressful time on my last role. And they were like, yeah, like you get stressed, like your acid bubbled up. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And then I got like a Steam Deck shortly after that. And that kind of, killing people in the game kind of assuaged the stress there.
Jessica has a Steam Deck too. I think that helps with her stress.
I love, dude. I'm
Especially the
glad
stress of
everyone needs to get
watching
one.
me watch games, because I can be kind of a maniac when Tennessee's playing. So she'll just put on the Steam Deck while the Vols are on, and it's a win-win for all of us. She played this murder mystery that seemed pretty good lately. I think she's playing a new game right now while I do the podcast.
When Jared was talking about his stress, I heard the word Steam. I did not hear the word deck. So my mind did not go to Steam Deck. I heard steam bath. I was like, oh, good for Jared. He went and got a massage and took a steam bath, like went to the sauna. No, that's not what he did.
Yeah, that's also a great stress release. And you know what's another great stress release?
What's that, Jonathan?
Transitioning to college basketball talk, because I am done talking about this game because it was.
But before we get there, everybody look at my hat. And I know we still have to get through March Madness, but what's coming up? America's pastime, baby. Baseball's here.
Spring training.
Baseball's here. Spring training is here. We've got the World Baseball Classic in a couple weeks, beginning of March. We've got college baseball starting in 2 weeks. I know we're definitely going to be talking college baseball when we're
Friday
next week. Yeah, I'm pumped. February 13th, we're going to kick off college baseball. TCU's playing at the series at Globe Life, playing a lot of really good SEC teams.
That's a fun tournament.
Yeah, very fun tournament. I know Tennessee's got some big games next weekend too. So this is not a baseball episode. We will talk baseball more next week, and we're also gonna have a super fun guest next week to talk some Olympics. So we're pumped about that. But anyways, we're pumped up. America's pastime is almost here. Yankees had another acquisition today, blanking on the name. Again, it's been a whirlwind past 48 hours for me, so I'm a little out of the loop. But I'm pumped up, man. I'm so excited. I watch so much baseball, college and MLB. So just bring it on. I'm ready to be spoon-fed baseball for the next 6 months until football season starts again.
I'll be excited about baseball when the weather gets better. It just doesn't really feel like baseball weather. And
It's supposed to be 60 degrees and sunny in Virginia tomorrow. So I'm beaming from ear to ear. We still have 8 inches of snow on the ground, and that should hopefully get some of the snow melted. And it can't come soon enough. Being that I'm near a golf course a lot of the time, we haven't had a round of golf played in the last 14 plus days.
Yeah,
it's been crazy. So, and I like to fly fish too. I haven't been able to fly fish in weeks. I mean, all the rivers are frozen solid. There's nowhere to go. and it's so cold outside that I could go fish the spring creeks again. Not a fishing podcast, but it's been brutal.
Yeah, I've
All
been
right,
stuck at home. No, I'm with you. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready
cabin
for
fever.
baseball weather. I'm ready to watch my girl Carlin Pickens lead the Lady Vols to national title. So love softball. Carlin Pickens. Jared, have you seen her pitch? She's awesome. Got a big win over Oregon already. Which is kind of funny because it's still really cold. It's just funny to me that they're playing softball, but should be another great year for the Lady Vols. Really want to see Karen get one, but like I said, Jackson, I'm ready for spring ball. The good news is that we are almost approaching an hour, so we can't really talk too much about college basketball, which is great because nothing really happened on
Not a
the
tough
east
one.
side for basketball. Like I can't think of any newsworthy thing.
Duke UNC was an incredible, awesome game to watch.
Yeah,
I did watch.
I did too, and I just wanna say to all of our 100 listeners and 18 subscribers, I hope you find someone who loves you as much as ESPN loves the Duke UNC rivalry. They treat that rivalry like it's the Mecca, like, they treat it with, like, almost religious reverence, and it just makes my eyes I roll to the back of my head because it is a great rivalry, but it almost makes me hate the rivalry with how much they love it. I'll give an example is, I do think ESPN is terrible. Like, I think the production is terrible. I think it's corny. People say it's Mickey Mouse Disney-fied. It's the Chicken Little era of Disney. Um, yeah, the programming stinks where they have games like stacked 2 hours. So it was UNC Duke at 6:30, and then Kentucky was playing someone at 8:30.
Mhm.
I went to bed. They were losing. I don't know how that game turned out. I assume they lost because they were down by 14 to the team they were playing. You had UNC Duke, Kentucky, which message to everyone. Kentucky fans are better than UNC and Duke. Like there are more of them. They are more passionate. So after that final buzzer beater, the Tennessee Kentucky game had already started, and
Yeah.
Duke, like they were like treating it like it was like the national championship. They had like multiple interviews. I was
Well, they kept, and I just kept seeing the score bug at the bottom where it was running. It was like, you could switch to ESPN News, and I was at my parents' house watching on YouTube TV, and so I didn't flip it to ESPN News. I was keeping up with the score of the Kentucky Tennessee game on my phone, but yeah, they never switched, and
It's
I had
terrible.
been,
It's terrible
yeah,
production because if you're gonna do that, first of all, you need to schedule them 2.5 hours apart. That game should have started at 6 and the Kentucky game at 8:30. And also, there's 4 college basketball fan bases that carry, like, the viewership, and
mhm.
Kentucky is one of them. Their fans are passionate, and their
And
fans love watching the Cat.
Kentucky's teetering right now. I mean, I obviously I think Kentucky's a tournament team, but and we can get into that once we get close to March. But like Kentucky draws viewership, and they were playing a ranked Tennessee team at home,
We don't know
and
who won that game, but I'm assuming it was Tennessee because they were up at halftime.
yeah, I know, right?
Surely the Vols didn't blow 2 double-digit leads, but I don't know, but I was mad at my hotel room because I was in a hotel room, so normally, Jackson, I wouldn't mind, I would just switch over on my TV, but
Right.
I was watching it on a hotel TV, and they didn't have ESPN News, so I had to watch it on my phone, and meanwhile, Jay Billis is interviewing a 4th UNC player. I'm like, "It's a regular season rivalry, ESPN. You
Right.
don't have to do this. You already have terrible programming. Your games always go over because you don't know how to schedule." And if you're an ESPN producer listening to this, yeah, I'm being honest, like, I think I could do your job. You're awful. Your college football coverage is terrible. Your college
Yeah.
basketball coverage is terrible. This is an ESPN podcast. Unless it's owned by YouTube, then Jared can edit all that out. But no, that I just hope all of our subscribers who are lonely, they find someone who loves them as much as ESPN loves Duke and UNC, because I think they give it more coverage than Michigan and Ohio State, but they act like it's the greatest rivalry of all time. And it's top 5 for sure, but it kind of sours me on the rivalry. But that was a great win by UNC. Very happy for all of our North Carolina fans listeners. I think North Carolina is a cool brand. I do think there's more Kentucky fans, but when we talk about the 4 fan bases, it's Duke, UNC, Kentucky, Kansas, and then I'd say maybe Arizona, but those are your 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I would lop Houston in there too.
Connecticut has a big fan. There are a lot of like strong fan bases, but my whole point is like you showing that much disrespect to Kentucky fans, and this is from a Tennessee fan who Kentucky is our biggest rival, but I also, if I was in, but I also recognize how important their fans are to the sport.
Absolutely, and it was yeah, again, I don't think we don't have a ton else to touch on college basketball related. The Kentucky game was what it was. They're a team that should be dancing. Another
Always
team,
really good.
yeah, it's going to be interesting as we start to get to that point. TCU, just to touch on that, they did have a good win. They've been down lately. Great come from behind win. And I will say, you know what else is great when you've been down and you need to, just kick back and relax? Can be a nice stop at the Far Gone Brewing Company in Culpeper, Virginia.
I went there.
You have been there, absolutely. On our when you were
Wedding
here
day,
for
yeah,
the
when I went up for your all's wedding, we went at Fargon Brewing, and I think I had a stout that was delicious.
Yeah. So Far Gone, my local favorite brewery in our area. For those of you who don't know, I'm in the greater Northern Virginia area, kind of on the outskirts. So if you're in DC, if you're in Northern Virginia, or even if you're a listener from the Culpeper area, and I would hope if you live in Culpeper, you know what Far Gone is. But if you don't live in Culpeper, you may or may not have heard of this awesome establishment. Great ales, great beers, great IPAs. Highly recommend the Sleeping Elephant IPA. Also, really like the Looter IPA. They have a great stout.
They
They
do.
make a delicious porter as well. My wife's favorite. They make a beer at Christmas time, a spiced ale, just called their Far Gone Christmas beer.
That sounds
But
amazing.
the best thing to pair with one of their cold beers is one of their wood-fired pizzas, which I know is, so many breweries have pizza ovens, but Fargon does it right. They even do 2 for Tuesday, so you can go get 2 pints and 2 personal pies for a really great deal. It's one of the cheapest meals in town on a Tuesday, and it easily feeds 3 to 4 people. It's great. So shout out Fargon Brewing if you're in the Culpeper area, the greater Culpeper metropolitan area. Go get yourself a pint at Far Gone. Kick back, sit out on the patio. They've got live music on the weekends. Just a good spot to hang out. It is nowhere near as big as Zool Brewing, which was our other fake ad read, but it's a great place to just
It's
hang
great.
out. You can watch. It's near the train track, so you can see the Amtrak come and go on its way to DC, and it's a good time. It's a good hang.
It is, and I think that applies to wherever you're listening. Just support your local breweries, support your local business.
Absolutely.
It's difficult to run a local business, and they deserve our support. So that's why we try to give them free advertising.
And yeah, and I obviously, so I'm a proud member of the Culpeper Homebrew Society, and so I know the lead brewer and owner of Far Gone, and he works his butt off to make sure that that place is successful. And I also know all of the beer tenders there, bar managers, just incredible people. So the entire team over at Far Gone, you know who you are. Thank you for keeping the town of Culpeper supplied with delicious cold beer. We are so thankful for you and all that you do for our town.
Yep, that's great ad read. Very excited next time we go to Culpeper to visit Fargon. But yes, Fargon, a proud non-sponsor of this show. Thank you, Fargon,
Yes,
for everything you do for the Culpeper community.
we love it.
And speaking of Virginia basketball looks good.
Yeah, UVA is looking good. ACC is looking interesting. SEC is looking interesting. Big 12 is looking very interesting.
Arizona might go undefeated. Or I'm excited
Yeah,
for Arizona Houston whenever that.
TCU has to play Iowa State tomorrow night at 9:30. So I guess I'll stay up and watch that game. We're playing them at home in Fort Worth. Would be great to get a win because after that, I think the only other ranked opponent over our last 6 or 7 games is Texas Tech. So TCU is right now very much a bubble team. So I know we've kind of wrapped up our basketball segment, but it's going to be interesting to see, Tennessee if they get hot, and I know we're going to the LSU Tennessee game next week. So if any listeners want to come actually shake hands with the ball knowers, the not so ball knowers, we will be live in person watching the game, probably enjoying a PB&J mixtape while we do that.
I'm very excited to watch Nate Emmett play. I think
I
he's
am
gonna be
too.
I
I
think he's
love
gonna be
live
a great
sporting events. And
I think he's gonna be a great NBA player. This new segment is not sponsored by Volunteer Traditions, and it's called "Holy Crap, I'm Starting to Get Old." You know why I said "Holy crap, I'm starting to get old"? Because as a kid, Close Boozer was one of my favorite basketball players, and one of the like when I started really getting into basketball, I loved watching when he would go with the Utah Jazz go up against Kobe Bryant. His son, like he actually has twins now on Duke, and that was just the first time it sunk into me. Is like, oh, I'm getting old. Cameron
So,
Cameron Boozer,
yeah,
who is really good, by the way.
explain.
He might be one of the best college players. Someone said he might be the best since Anthony Davis, but I watched him in that UNC Duke game, and he was awesome to watch. He didn't get the win, but
Explain how this new segment is going to work.
this new
Explain
segment,
to us a little bit, Jonathan, how this new segment's going to
holy crap, I'm getting old. I just thought, I just
work.
wanted
Yeah.
to just actually talk about Cameron Boozer. So this will be, this won't be a regular like weekly segment. It will just be a segment when I realize that an athlete, when I like run across an athlete whose dad I remember. So like Bronny James. So if Bronny James has a big game, I'll be like,
Love it.
holy crap, I'm old. But that for
Holy
some
crap.
reason, just knowing Carlos Boozer's kids are now in college, it really sunk in. And like,
Right.
not a young kid anymore. That was a while. Like
Right.
the late 2000s were a long time ago.
I like it. I like it. That's good. Does that bring us into my time to shine where I get to talk for 5 minutes about golf and have Jared get really mad at me?
Yes, and I've created a song. I know Jared usually is our producer and does that, but Jared, I've created a little intro for this segment, and it's a song. So here's the segment, and don't edit it out because I spent a lot of time on it. It's time to talk golf with Jackson. It's time to talk golf with Jackson. I'm trying to avoid a song sounding similar to any song so we don't get copy. I'm coughing mid. So we don't get slammed for copyright infringement. But this is Talking Golf with Jackson.
That's awesome. That's great. That's going to be a YouTube short right there. That's great. All right. Obviously tough golf going up against the Super Bowl. Not everybody's first priority. The good news is we are into elevated signature event season. So that's exciting. So everybody get pumped up. We're going to see Rory start playing golf again, things like that. But just really quickly to recap what happened across the world of golf. This week, Chris Gotterup won in a playoff over Hideki Matsuyama at the Waste Management Phoenix Open in Scottsdale, Arizona. Congratulations to Chris Gotterup. This is his second win of the season. Dude is an animal, just absolutely pounds the ball. Driving distance is off the charts. He hits these really cool, like low trajectory drivers too, where they like don't get more than 30 or 40 feet off the ground, super low launch angle. It's sick to watch. I don't think necessarily like widely regarded as this stellar iron player, but just looked really good down the stretch. He shot 7 under in his final round to tie the lead and go into a playoff. And there was some controversy in the playoff during, I think it was Matsuyama's tee shot, or at least his attempt to, start his backswing. A volunteer dropped a chair. I assume it was a folding chair, like a metal folding chair of some kind.
Dang.
And it happened right at the top of his backswing. So he had to back off the ball. He'd been kind of spraying it everywhere at that point and not playing particularly, just complimentary golf at that point in time. So hard to say if that could have been what led to Matsuyama eventually losing. But congratulations, Chris Gotterup. Matsuyama, you played a great event.
And
Nice to see
he has a built-in excuse too, which is
Yeah,
always good.
absolutely. Scotty Scheffler shot over par in the opening round and managed to still finish tied for third. So that's great. Going down the leaderboard. Nice to see Akshay Bhatia playing well. Siwoo Kim, another good finish. T3. Nikolai Højgaard played really well. Nice to see Vic Hovland in the top 10. You kind of never know. Victor, kind of his swing can be in flux sometimes. And so it's great to see Victor playing well. It was great. Ricky Fowler in the top 20. Going into these signature events, it's going to be great. If I pull up the PGA Tour schedule and I look at the field for next week is the AT&T Pebble Beach. So kind of getting into the lead up to some of these really big events as we get closer and closer, obviously, to the kickoff of major season at Augusta. But Ludwig's playing next week. Wyndham Clark is playing next week. Tommy Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, excuse me. Ricky Fowler's in there. Obviously, Chris Gotterup will be in the field again. Vic Hovland. Jake Knapp will be playing. Lowry will be playing. Big shot Bob McIntyre. Rory making his season debut on the PGA Tour, which is always exciting. So just a stacked field. Justin Rose in the field next week. I could go on and on. Most of the top 10 in the world will be there. Some other housekeeping items from the golf world. Patrick Reed, who basically announced his departure from Live Golf a little over a week ago, had another win on the European Tour. So, he has announced his intentions to return to the PGA Tour under the correct way to return to the PGA Tour. So he's now won twice on the European Tour. He's going to get into most of the majors. He's playing really good golf. Is the PGA Tour going to make some sort of exception to let this guy back in time, like to maybe play in the Players' Championship at Sawgrass and some of these other signature events, as well as he's playing, will be interesting to see. Obviously, the Tour's made it pretty clear that he wouldn't be able to return until later in the summer based off the suspension that he's serving. But I think there's a lot of thought processes or a lot of camps out there that think that he should get some time or get some starts, not time, some starts on the PGA Tour. So yeah, golf season's heating up. Pebble Beach, Monterey Peninsula is always a super cool event. Just one of the quintessential golf courses. I'm sure anybody, even you, Jonathan, I'm sure have heard of Pebble Beach. Yeah, so I'm sure I'll be, being that I'll be in town next week, we'll get to watch a little bit of the golf together, and we can chat about it more. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's all the housekeeping on the golf side of things. Kid with the name Smiley won on Live this week, and I cannot remember who won the Corn Ferry event. Again, it's been a whirlwind last 48 hours for me, so a little out of touch on everything, but I did still manage to keep up with the PGA Tour event this week. So yeah, golf's in a good spot. Shout out to TPC, Scottsdale, just a great venue. Always is a really good test. It was firm. It was fast this week, which is always just a joy to see. It's kind of nice to see these guys have to think their way around a golf course instead of just bomb and gouge and hit driver and then hit a flip wedge to 10 feet and, make 30% of those 10 footers. It's nice when there's a little bit of penalty involved if you don't execute a shot perfectly. So great week, great week of golf. And congratulations to Chris Gotterup. Going to be really interesting to see if he can, we've had 4 PGA Tour starts and the kid's already won twice. So here we go. Buckle up. It's a race to the Masters to see who's going to be hot going into Augusta.
I'm excited. The Masters is not that actually far away if you think about it. But yeah, Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
Great golf recap. I'm sure our golf listeners will really appreciate that. And hopefully I can get to a point where I can contribute to golf conversations. But I didn't watch any golf this weekend. Had a cough.
All good.
But hopefully, I didn't get to watch much golf this weekend, but hopefully I get to a point where I learn enough golf where I can actually contribute I can make meaningful contributions to your golf segment.
Right. Well, you'll get there. It's all good, but that's all we're complimenting one another. That's what this is all about.
Got to be positive.
Absolutely. Well, I'll let you close us out, but just again, couple housekeeping items from the Not So Ball Knower. Social media will be kicking up this week. We've got all the logins, so expect to see some TikToks, some stuff on X, the Everything app, some stuff on Instagram, things like that. We will be posting some reels and some shorts, and we'll have to give Jonathan the X login too, so that he can, when he needs to post a rant on X, he can hop on there and get that out to the world. So yeah, so that's coming. Again, we anticipate a live show next week, probably Sunday before Emma and I leave town. So that's exciting to all be together doing it. I think at Jared's house will be great. And we're going to have again a guest who has said agreed to be on the show. We will not give that information yet, but they are a figure skating expert. So we're going to recap the Olympics on that episode and talk a little baseball going into the what will have been the first 2 days of the college baseball season. Anything else to add, Jonathan?
Nope. I think that covered it. I'm going to close with a new segment.
Okay.
Because I think one way we were talking about making this podcast better, and one way is to have more organized segments. So this segment is not sponsored by Volunteer Traditions. Volunteer Traditions is a clothing company that sells Tennessee gear. I'm wearing, you can't really see there. See,
Oh, that's good looking.
I got this on clearance. I love Volunteer Traditions. Provide, if you're a Tennessee fan, get all of your game day stuff. I have a basketball pullover. I have a football pullover. I have several polos from Volunteer Traditions. It's a great, great company. It's local too, from Tennessee, I think. But they design only Tennessee stuff. So if you're looking for a great game day place, go to Volunteer Traditions. This is not a paid ad. They did not pay me to say this. This is once again another free advertising. But my final segment, Jackson, is 30-year-old man yells at cloud. I feel like since we are guys hosting a podcast, we have to complain about something. So I just want to set aside a week to complain about just a random thing that has been annoying me. If Jared is still on, our producer, he might have dropped off. He could probably contribute to this.
I'm here.
Okay, well, that's sad because you are also very handsome. So your
I
video
was just prepping our I was just prepping our guests, Jonathan and Jackson.
Nice.
Now that they know they're going to do this, and they were not aware that they are a ice skating expert, so they are going to get the advice from their partner that is the actual expert. But as a
Perfect.
reminder, this person is a sports betting wizard as far
Perfect.
as the analytics, and also loves NBA basketball. So where we've got Sam, that's the NFL ball knower, this guest that we're not naming for some reason can talk about those.
But anyway, my complaint is we all know that I am very much into history and looking at old photos, especially of Knoxville. I started doing that when the game got boring yesterday. And one thing that kind of drives me crazy is that when I was in Virginia, it just dawned on me that Virginia is so much better at preserving old buildings than Tennessee. One thing that Knoxville did a really bad job in like the mid 20th century is all these beautiful buildings that I had to do research on. They're gone. They were destroyed. They were raised for much uglier buildings or buildings that are no longer there anyway. It makes me mad, Jackson.
Yeah, Virginia does a really good job. I live in the historic district of the town in Culpeper. You know, even like the houses that are in Culpeper, there's some houses that were built in the 1700s that are preserved, and a lot of the buildings that are in downtown Culpeper are from that same time period. So yeah, I can agree with you there. When I'm in Tennessee, I've definitely noticed that. So,
I mean, thank goodness that the Bijou Theater was saved because they almost were going to tear that down, Jared. Did you know that?
I did hear about that. I mean, it's honestly depressing. I sent the articles over the other day about the strip and how much it's changed. And I love New York City because it's very cavernous, but reading about those articles of the old places in the strip was just kind of sad.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, especially with all the old businesses. I did hear that they're going to find a way. Like, I am a fan of mixed zoning. So if they could get if they could get like some local businesses in the lobby of all that student housing, then it's not as bad. But another question for you, Jared, is what do you think of the Civic Center or the Civic Coliseum? Like, just how it looks?
See, I still have not made it to an Ice Bears game. For those that are hockey fans, we have a local team. They're called the Ice Bears. And the only things I've been there to see was a 1975 concert with my wife, and that was a fun time. Kaylee and I enjoyed it. We had just turned 21, so we got Angry Orchards, like total bad people.
But Jared,
And then
how do you think it looks though, is what I'm asking.
hold on. I'm getting to this. And then the thing that really made me think about, man, there's a lot more in here than I thought was when who is that? He's a Christian comedian, Tim something. You know what I'm talking about? Talks about Chick-fil-A.
I don't, but
anyways, so nevertheless, my mom was like, we got to go see this comedian. And it was like, okay, whatever. But I did not realize how big that place is. But from the outside, to answer your question directly, it is brutalist architecture at its finest. And I absolutely hate brutalist architecture.
yeah, no, it looks like it's like from a Soviet bloc. It looks like it's
that's what it was designed for. Yeah, that's what they were going for.
And I hate how it looks. And for their urban renewal project, they just destroyed a bunch of homes. They destroyed a bunch of old homes in Knoxville to make the Civic Coliseum and Hall of Fame Drive. That area of Knoxville is just boring. It's ugly. It's not fun to look at. But Jared, guess what? There's a housing crisis going on. So it would be awfully nice in Knoxville now for some of those like houses that they thought were like too ugly and they were going to total. Like it would have been really nice to have those houses now. Like maybe they could have been flipped, or I'm trying to think of the right word, but maybe they could have been like renovated and they could have been livable, and like we could have more houses and some more historic sections in Knoxville. But no, we got a Civic Coliseum that now it's completely obsolete thanks to Thompson Bowling Arena because all the good concerts go there now. So we don't really even need the Civic Coliseum and Hall of Fame Drive. We also built the interstate through Knoxville, which makes me mad too, Jackson,
That,
because at the time, Knoxville was so tiny, or like it was so condensed that you could have easily built the interstate around Knoxville instead of through historic neighborhoods. There's also
I do like driving down the interstate and being able to see the World's Fair Park and seeing the Golden Ball. I can't, what do you guys call it?
the Sun
I can never.
Sphere.
Yeah, the Sun Sphere. And like you guys have I mean, I know that it's not like a crazy skyline, but there's some cool buildings in downtown Knoxville. So like I will say, as somebody who spent a lot of time in just north and slightly east of Knoxville growing up, it was always a treat when I would get to drive into Knoxville. Usually I was going to Westtown Mall, shout out Westtown, to go shopping with my family. But yeah, it was always cool. We would cut through downtown, and oftentimes going to sporting events as a kid too. We'd come in off the interstate, get off, we'd go into downtown, and we'd go to a game, go to some sporting event, and then go have a burger at Calhoun's on the river afterwards.
Well,
So
I'm glad you like it, Jackson, because a lot of historic homes were raised just to build that interstate through
I
the
didn't.
city.
I'm not talking from a historical perspective. I'm just talking from a view perspective. As you come into the city, I think it looks cool. That's all I'm saying.
It
So,
does look cool, but you could have built like roads that didn't. I don't know.
all right,
I'm not a civic person. It
year-old
just kind of
man who
makes
yells at things. That's your segment. You're
Yeah, I'm
yelling at
yelling at
yelling.
stuff. It just makes me mad that there's a lot of historical buildings that could have been saved, and I feel like Knoxville could have looked better. Now they're building new buildings, and it kind of looks like cookie cutter. I just really like some of the more historic buildings in Knoxville. Like I love the Sturchy building. Our guest lived close to there. Uh,
Mhm.
at a point, I love the Sturchy building. I love the Tennessee Theater. I love how the Bijou Theater looks, the Andrew Johnson Hotel. I can
Yeah,
name a lot of the more historic buildings, and I wish there was more of them. Now, and if they have to build new buildings, I wish they would model the buildings to kind of look like.
to be more period.
Yeah, because I also read I tried to read the article from the New Yorker, or maybe it was the Atlantic, but you needed a subscription and I'm poor.
Yeah,
So I only read like the headline and the first paragraph before I got you need to be a member to read the rest.
maybe I can share my New Yorker subscription with you.
Nice, but basically they said that like the architecture, like a lot of downtowns and cities in the US are starting to look the same because they're using like the same standard of architecture when like building high rises. And you kind
Yeah,
of see that on the strip. Jared, you can
yeah.
tell me if you disagree because you probably know more about architecture than me. And honestly, this probably would have been a good segment for our guest next week because I know he's probably has similar
yeah,
thoughts.
I I mean, it is. Oh my god, on my I just another my Spotify just turned on. Okay, yeah. Uh, I have been blessed to go to Europe, gosh, 20 times at this point for various trips. So work has been very nice to me at
You,
times.
you've got me.
Not
You've got
nice.
me by 18 times, Jared.
Yeah,
It's been
not
20.
nice, and also other parts of the world too. But it is always fun to come back and fly into Knoxville, though we have a small city. But to Toy's point, the architecture in Knoxville and really most of the country is absolutely awful compared to the places you see over there. That being said, there are some cities, like I'm in Boston for work a lot more now because that's where we're based, where they've still maintained some of that. But the US is big
I
on
was.
and
That's. I
destroying
was.
neighborhoods and building McDonald's on the side of highways. Like
Was
that's
gonna
really what we're good
say,
at.
like Jonathan said, a lot of Virginia cities have done a really good job. Like if you ever go to Richmond, Richmond's done a really good job at preserving a lot of the, you know, just historical period architecture and new stuff that they build. It has done a really good job. I went to I went to back-to-back Goose shows this summer, or really fall, back in October at the new amphitheater in downtown Richmond, and it's super cool. They built this brand new modern amphitheater, but they've got all these buildings surrounding it, um, that are tied into it, and there's museums down there. I'm trying to remember, see if I can't find the name museum that's right there. Um, let's see. Anyways, like Richmond's done a really good job, and it's just everything is just really neat down by that area. And I think a lot of other
Alexandria is another city I feel like that did a good job.
yeah, but like it's just Alexandria's, and that's actually like Alexandria is not far from where I live, and DC's got a lot of historical pockets as well that are in that. DC's not Virginia, but it's right there. So, but anyways, I hear what you guys are saying for sure.
That's all I had to say. It's just me yelling at a cloud. I wish.
I like it. It's a good way to wrap us up and lead us into our next episode for next week.
Yes, exactly. So thank you all for listening. If you listened and you have hot takes about architecture, comment below. Let me know. Please subscribe so we can get more subscribers. My cat is driving me crazy right now, but yeah, before we go, you can all say goodbye to Pippin. Pippin's been wanting the camera. She's loves attention. She's a little diva.
Pippin.
There's Pippin.
Mascot Pippin. I love it.
Can never see her when I come over. The
But
cats
she
just
hides.
disappear.
Yeah, she hides. She's a little camera shy. She's a little shy. She probably didn't know we were live. She's going to be mortified that she tried to show her private areas to our hundreds of listeners, but it's okay, Pippin. We still love you.
Well, good stuff, guys. Anything else to add before we close it out?
Nope. Can't wait to see you on Saturday.
Excited to see you guys. Excited to watch some fall basketball together. Going to be enjoyable, and it's going to be great. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Looking forward to seeing you, Jackson. You all have a great night.
Have
You
a great
too.
week, boys. We'll see you soon.